Hey folks, I'm back after an extended period of radio, or in this case, video silence. I was working on a new script and wanted to pour all of my energies into it. Now again, I'm only the screenwriter, and I'd love to do a video just talking about that stage of the movie-making process someday. But being the screenwriter of a movie, you really have to write your best, and then let your baby go to be handled and sometimes mishandled by others. Maybe even that will change someday, but that's where I am right now. All I know is that I love this new script I've been working on. It's sort of a genre mashup, but always it leans into the realm of horror. I can't wait until I can share more about it. And in the meantime, let's talk about an extremely well-written and well-made movie who, coincidentally, was directed by one of the writers. The Rule of Jenny PENN. The Rule of Jenny PENN is new in select theaters from IFC Films and Shudder. It's directed by James Ashcroft and written by James Ashcroft, Eli Kent, and Owen Marshall. Geoffrey Rush plays Stefan Mortensen, a judge who suffers a stroke in the opening minutes and requires to be placed in a nursing home for recovery. There he meets Dave Creeley, played by John Lithgow, who is the local bully, taking his wrath out against his feebler peers at the home. When Stefan refuses to acknowledge Creeley's superiority at the home, a bitter feud begins. The Rule of Jenny PENN is one dark tale, and if there's any complaint I have at all, it's that I didn't get to spend more time watching these seasoned actors do what they do best. Rush is wonderful as a man who has lived a cold life as a judge and is now paying for it by being ultimately alone in this nursing home. He contests that he will soon be out of the home, so he doesn't want to make any friends or participate in any of the activities. While one would think that would make this character dislikable, the way the film intimately follows Stefan through his struggles, you can't help but feel sorry for the guy. Rush is able to bring humanity to an utterly inhuman person by showing all of the gory details of how debilitating a stroke can be. Seeing Rush play such a vulnerable role where he's in conflict with his own body is heartbreaking. But you can't help but root for him because John Lithgow gives such a diabolical performance as Creeley. Still, while Creeley does some truly despicable acts, Lithgow somehow makes you feel for him as well. Creeley is nuanced in his madness, and those of you, like me, who thought the Batman movies missed out by not having him play the ventriloquist, get a taste of that insanity here as Creeley walks around with his support puppet on the end of his hand. It really is creepy the way he makes the doll peer through curtains and around corners, and Lithgow proves he's the king of the hill in one scene where the old folks are all dancing and Lithgow goes out there and turns it into a mosh pit, and it's truly twisted. He's simply a force of nature here, decimating everyone in his path, but like most bullies, his insecurities are obvious. I used to work in a therapy business, and early on when I had a series of internships giving us students experience with different populations, I knew right away geriatric facilities just weren't for me. Maybe it was because of my own fear of getting old and helpless. Maybe it was because the patients would often mistake me for their son or even late husband. I just knew I would never work in a place like that. This movie didn't change my mind about that at all. Director James Ashcroft captures the day-to-day monotony and the underlying madness of work in a facility for the elderly to a T. Working like an old folks' home version of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Rule of Jenny PENN is about one man fighting the system. It's only that this system happens to be represented not by a strict nurse, but by a horrible man wearing a puppet on his hand. Rush plays the will to fight that system, a system that has been in place as long as most in the home can remember, and how that will can be worn down to the nub over time. Seeing Rush go from hopeful to leave to inevitably accepting his fate is the stuff of nightmares for me. And as I am not getting any younger, this film hit me like a sledgehammer at times, as despite how much Stefan tried to reason with the staff, his words fall on deaf ears because in their eyes, he's not relevant anymore. That's just truly heart-shattering. But though the drama is amped to the max and much of the film is rooted in the real world, through terrifying hallucinations and dream sequences, the nightmare of Creeley and his puppet, Jenny PENN, are ever-present and horrifying. Not only that, but the lengths Creeley goes to exert his authority over the rest of his peers is equally horrible, as Creeley knows how to cheat the system and does so with devilish glee and dire intent. He may not move fast, but Creeley's wrath is terrible indeed. If anything, The Rule of Jenny Penn should come with a warning that you're going to be feeling depressed as all hell as you walk away from this one. It's an extremely sad watch. If you have an elderly parent or grandparent, this one's going to hit hard, and most likely will have you looking for any kind of alternative living situation than a home like this one depicted here. At the same time, The Rule of Jenny Penn is a celebration of two actors who don't get top billing as often as they used to, and this film allows them to show that they still are in top form. My own prejudices against the elderly aside, The Rule of Jenny Penn is one hell of a powerful film. It isn't bloody or filled with jump scares, but it does tap into that fear we all have of growing old, insignificant, and alone. That's scarier than any serial killer or found footage that I've ever seen, because it's real, and we all should be lucky enough to experience that. But even that's kind of fucked up. You want to survive the horrors of life, and you do, and then end up not in command of your own body, or your own senses, or your own freedoms. That's heavy, scary stuff, and The Rule of Jenny Penn is riddled with those real, inevitable, and terrifying scares. Are you ready to face those fears? How you answer will be whether you're going to want to watch this movie or not. Please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications. You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're